Yo, what's up guys, it's Shinobi. So today I'm just going to be going over when I enter a trade, how I stay in, where's my conviction, how do I average down, where do I look to re-add, where do I look to take profits, and how I just end up, just the flow of my trading in general. So first thing I usually do is I'm on TradingView here. I usually use TrendSpider, but for intraday I'm always on Thinkorswim. But TradingView just, has everything I need right now, so looks a little bit cleaner, and these indicators will help you guys understand, just the volume and the VP, everything I'm looking at. So starting off, main thing I'm looking at is I'm drawing out my key levels, right? I'm drawing out my key levels every single day. So for me on Snap Trade, I took this Friday as I posted. You guys can see I was just playing the previous day low break, right? I was just playing the previous day low break, and right there you guys can see we got a nice break on the 15-minute. And one thing I always do is I always trade off the 15-minute. Main reason why, it just helps me avoid fake outs and just overall just helps me understand the sentiment of the stock. And I like to pair the 15-minute with the 5 and the 8 EMAs, as you guys can see right there. That's the 5 and the 8 EMA. Now you guys can use the Ripster clouds if you guys know what those are, but I just prefer to use the normal lines, just so it's just a little bit more cleaner for me. But the clouds work really well as well, so you guys can go to Ripster. I'll link him down below. You guys can go to his Twitter, find the clouds, and then add them into your own trading style. But for me, I don't use the EMAs for entries. I don't use them for entries. I just use them to hold my play and look for an exit. I'll never play EMA crossovers, any of that stuff. I'm always just using these EMAs just to stay in the play longer. Now I want to shout out Big Bull's Corner. I'm gonna tag him down below, and Steelarms, my two mods who actually helped me develop this strategy and actually taught it to me. These are the guys who actually taught it to me, so shout out to those guys. I'll link them down below too. But right here you guys can see we played the previous day low breaks on Snap, and that level was 52.10. Now right off the beginning of the day, you guys see we have this insane topping tail with volume, as you guys can see from volume indicator, indicating selling on Snap, right? So that's indicating that people are selling at these levels due to the demand that's up here, right? So if I just draw the demand from here, you guys can see this little consolidation it had there from the previous day. It's consolidating in that channel. You can see that acted as a supply zone pre-market twice and into open. So that's one thing you would look for. So I see that supply is strong and there's a lot of sellers at these levels, up there. So what does that tells me? That when it had this big, topping tail, now if I go into the 5-minute, it's gonna look completely different. We're gonna have a big volume candle, or a big buy candle here with a huge engulfing bearish candle right after, right? And on the 15-minute, we really see that, okay, this is a topping tail. We have almost an inverse hammer forming here, so it's setting the sentiment to be bearish on Snap for that day. So what I did from here is once it broke past this level, right, and what I'm looking for a breakout is I'm looking for it to reject the EMAs. So this opened in the EMAs and dropped right below. So what did I do right before? Whenever something ever breaks my levels, and if you're over PDT, this will work for you. If not, you might want to chill out on this and just add on retest. What I always do is I always open up a small starter position. I'm trying to find the arrow here. So okay, right here is where I entered my starter position. Okay, now we have an insane knife. I was playing 0 DTs. First we were up, or we were down like 10-15%, and this is why I don't keep hard stops on percent gains or losses. I always keep them on just a chart in general, so my stop would have been past this level back up, right? So that's why I stayed in. Immediately we were down while it was wicking, and then it came back down, right? You get a nice move here. This candle opens red, starts bouncing, right? The reason I stay in the trade is because you guys could see it's still holding the EMAs, so it's rejecting off the EMAs. I only usually look to exit when I'm up a nice amount and the stock looks extended, right? Or when it pulls back to the EMAs, this is when I add more. So this is where I added half position. Since Friday 0 DTs, I'm going in with lighter size. So I opened my starter here, I'm in half size of my normal full size, right? So I added more on this rejection, or not on this rejection, but when the next 15-minute closed and was rejecting this, added back more. And then you see we flush down and we come down to an area of support here, right? We enter an area of support around 50.72. Instead of, I didn't catch the exact bottom. I actually sold on this green candle right here. This is where I sold. Right here is where I would have sold, because this is where it breaks above the 5 and 8 and closes above. So I was actually, you guys know, I was tweeting, I was like trimming, and then this is where I was out full position because the trend reversed on me, and you guys can see we still, got a little fake out, but I was more than happy with what we got here. I wasn't going to be able to hold through all this chop just to catch a few more cents to the downside. So that's how I played Snap on Friday. Now we're going to go on to AMD. Came onto the 15 minute. We have the supplies it created on the 15 minute from the previous day. And you can see it opens up and completely rejects all these levels, right? So you guys can just see all these rejections it's having. One here, one here. So I actually entered on this break right here. So this is what I like to call an H pattern. Now, what an H pattern is basically what I like to call, it's where it rejects the breakout, comes a little back, and then breaks through. So the H pattern kind of looks like this, right? Stock comes down, bounces up slightly, comes back down to that level. We'll just draw out a fake level here. Say this level. You guys see how it forms a lowercase h, then continues to flush. All in all, it creates a lowercase h, and then continues down, right? That's what I look for. We get that move down, right? We get that move down, and this is all on the 15 minute. We get a move up, then we get that exact move down, and then what happens? It comes down to an area of support, and it breaks, right? So it broke down. That's how we played this. Initially, we caught this break right off open too. Caught a little bit of this move, and if I would have entered right here, obviously I'd be getting scared in these positions here, especially when it breaks out this high up. I'm not exiting a position until it closes above the 15 minutes. So a 15 minute candle close. Obviously I would have started selling some here because I'm gonna be completely honest, I wouldn't have held all the way up 40. I wouldn't even average down here. I added my position mostly here, open a starter when it rejected the 5 and 8 EMAs, but most of my position was added when we broke this level here. You guys can see it's all low. It broke from 137 and hit lows of 135.91. So what I should have been doing is I should have been scaling out along this way, but I got too stubborn in my trade and exited it here, and then got caught in the chop, which eventually decayed my contracts. But I was up a good 30-40% here, and that's just my fault in bad trading. I should have just taken profits. Moving on, something like Apple that we played. So you guys can see Apple pretty much broke past, created a new intraday resistance around this level here, right? So in the Discord, we called this breakout on the 15 minute. It pulls back, retraced back to our EMAs, which is where we would add more, and then you would have been able to hold throughout all this all the way to the end of the day, just based off the 5 and 8 EMA. With the 5 and 8 EMAs, what I'm always looking for is I just want the stock to hold above it. Now it's really hard for something that gets super choppy like SPY to follow a trend, but these are for stocks that usually follow trends. So we're looking at stuff like Tesla. Alright, we're looking at Tesla. You would have played this break here, added, and you would have held all the way through to the end, and then you would have probably sold here. If you got in right on the break, you would still be in profit. Another good example was AMD from the previous day on Thursday, which is where we completely killed it. On Thursday, we entered on the previous day support break, entered here, and we held all the way through till the end of the day, if you guys remember on the Twitter. So this is what happened. Created the broke past our support. We enter our position here. We enter a starter, add more on a retest, comes back, forms the base, add more on the retest here, breaks past, full position is in, and then boom, you get the follow through on the stock. So main things what I'm trying to say here is whenever a stock breaks past the 5 and 8 EMA, I like to refer to these 5 and 8 EMAs as magnets, right? So when it breaks past is when there's officially a trend reversal on the 15-minute chart. And the reason I use the 15-minute chart is so I'm able to analyze the stock better. I'm able to see a broader image of what's happening. I'm not shaken out by, big impulses off the 1 or 5 minute, just to shake me out. And plus, this is my system that's been working for me. So when there is a trend, the 5 and 8 EMA strategy never goes to waste. When there is a trend. Now in choppiness, everyone gets messed up, right? It doesn't matter what system you have, you're always going to get messed up. Choppiness, like you guys can see on Lucid on Friday, very, very little movement, right? It was just chopping. But the day before, whenever there's a trend, you're always going to be able to ride out your positions all the way till the end. So prior day, right? Say on Wednesday, it breaks past support or resistance here, you enter on this 5 and 8 EMA magnet retest. I mean, it reject impulses so much, you know, it has a big green candle. It's going to pull back to our 5 and 8 EMAs, and that's where we're going to look to add. All right, that's where I'm going to look to add every single time. Add on the 5 and 8 EMAs. Has this little flag forming, breaks out. You could obviously take profits here, but you know, most would take it here. So you would have entered from 43.60, you would have most likely taken profits at 44.41 and seen it go to 45 plus. And then on Friday, you would have just been or on Thursday, you would have just been able to play the previous day lows. And this is all hindsight, right? And we actually did catch this, broke the support, entered our starter right on that break, added more on these two tails, and then you just ride it through all the way till the end of the day because it doesn't break the trend. So the only reason I usually ever, especially on a big trend day, only reason I ever look to take profits is when the trend reverses on me. And that's why I use the 5 and 8 EMA strategy so much, is because when I'm in a play and I'm, you know, waiting for something to happen, I always used to have a problem of getting shaken out super early and not staying in a play long enough. The 5 and 8 EMA strategy helps me stay in a play longer, add on those you know, dips, like if I'm playing the downside, you know, dips on the contracts, or you know, little rips where it rejects. That's where I add more, because that tells me my trend is still intact and that I have no reason to worry because the trend hasn't reversed. The only time I look to sell is when the trend starts reversing on me. Does it work 100% of the time? No, it doesn't, you know, but it helps me enough to where my losses are significantly lower than my wins, right? On my wins, say I'm making 30-40%. On my losses, the most I'll take is negative 20%, right? And that's if I hold all the way through, you know, and I don't take any profits if I don't see them, you know. Happens, not going to be 100% right, but that's why you don't try I don't try trading the chop. I just hold on and wait for the trend days to where I could catch big moves like this throughout the days. And that's just the truth, you know. Trading the chop is super hard. And then, you know, here's another example on an even larger cap. We're looking at Amazon breaks our 34.83 level, enter small on this break here, comes back to retest the EMAs, add more, boom. And then this is where you would look to, or I would look to take profits, is when it closed above the EMA. Obviously that was a fake out, but this is according to my system where I would have exited 34.43. So you catch a 40-point move to the downside. Just use the 5 and 8 EMAs as a way to stay into your trade. So that's what I do. I use them to stay in my trade, wait for a reversal before I hop out of a trade. And that, you know, really has led to me holding onto trades longer and collecting a lot more profits than I usually would. I always start taking profits at 10%. You guys already know this. I always trim some there just so I can add back on those 5 and 8 magnet retests. But overall, 5 and 8 EMAs is you know, just my system and just how I hold it. So definitely check these out. Let me know if you guys try it. Definitely try paper trading with it first. See how it works for you and if it fits your personality, because not many people like holding for hours on end, where you could just be in and out super fast, right? So definitely check it out. Let me know what you guys think. You know, drop a comment, drop any questions you guys have. I'll answer them. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.